Today we'll be working in my workbook on Ezra, the second book in the book of Ezra. This is the arrival of Ezra, basically chapters 7 through 10. And we'll be actually doing the last chapter in this book. But quickly, we want to go over where we are in time. Ezra is actually, even though it's one book, it's actually a huge span of time between the first part of Ezra and the second part of Ezra. First part of Ezra, we're in the second part of Ezra right now. First part of Ezra was chapters 1 through 6. That's when the first group came to Jerusalem, led by Zerubbabel. And Ezra is not part of this because this is a good distance of time between this and Nehemiah. And the only way, and a lot of people are gonna mix confused because Ezra shows up in Nehemiah, and how could he if he came with Zerubbabel? But he didn't. He doesn't show up until the second part of Ezra. Okay. So anyway, Zerubbabel comes through a decree of Cyrus, who's the Persian and Median king, and they are able to complete the temple. There's a gap of time that they got stopped by the Samaritans, but they were able to finally complete the temple. The prophets during that time that urged them to continue was Haggai and Zechariah. Then you have a space of time between chapter 6 and chapter 7. In that space of time, the book of Esther exists. The book of Esther is also in Persia, in Susa, the citadel of Susa. And so that whole story is about King Xerxes, which is the father of King Artaxerxes, which is the king during Ezra 7 through 10. So in Ezra 7 through 10, Ezra himself leads a second group to Jerusalem. And the temple has been rebuilt. The wall has been stopped. We won't see the wall rebuilt until Nehemiah, but he's going to lead a lot of religious reforms in Ezra in the second half of it. And so looking at the table of contents, we see chapter 1 where the Samaritans stopped rebuilding of the wall. And then chapter 2, Ezra gives a summary. Ezra is the one who writes the book of Ezra. Ezra gives a summary of his trip to Jerusalem. And then Ezra 3, in chapter 3, he gives a detail. So why he did it that way, I have no idea, but there you go. So now in chapter 4, which we have already done, he realizes that a lot of them have intermarried with the nations around them, which was strictly forbidden, and that he's in anguish because they have this opportunity to rebuild their lives and not be captives of another nation or have their own beliefs, and people have already gone against God's law. And so he's anguished because he's thinking God could just totally destroy us at this point. So now we have chapter 5, the end of Ezra. The people's confession of sin, Ezra 10, 1 through 44. Now, while Ezra was praying and while he was confessing, weeping, and bowing down before the house of God, a very large assembly of men, women, and children gathered to him from Israel, for the people wept bitterly. So there was a number who had followed the rules. What was Ezra doing? He was praying, confessing, weeping, and we know that it was deep and heartfelt prayer by Ezra's actions. What are they? He's down on his, arms spread on his knees. He's confessing, weeping, and bowing down before the house of God. He's in definite turmoil. What did he pray in front of? A large assembly of men, women, and children. What time of day was this prayer? It was 3 p.m. It was the evening prayer. Who gathered to him? A large assembly of men, women, and children. And what did these people do? They wept bitterly as well because they figured they had lost it. And this chance that they had lost. And Shechaniah, the son of Jehiel, one of the sons of Elam, spoke up and said to Ezra, "We have trespassed against our God and have taken pagan wives from the wives of people of the land. Yet now there is hope in Israel in spite of this. Now therefore let us make a covenant with our God to put away all those wives and those who have been born to them, according to the advice of my master and of those who tremble at the commandment of our God, and let it be done according to the law. Arise, for this matter is your responsibility. We also are with you. Be of good courage and do it." Who is Shechaniah? We know no more than what is written here. We can deduce that he or his family was part of the earlier group that came to Jerusalem, as he already has a pagan wife. If so, he may have come with the people of Elam in Ezra 2:7. Did Shechaniah know what sin the people committed? Yes. We have trespassed. We know what we've done. Does Shechaniah want to make right with God? Yes, he does. He want to make things right with God. A covenant was more than just a promise. It was a contract between two individuals, usually with a penalty if broken. In this case, the penalty would be God's removal of his blessing on this Jewish remnant. How does Shechaniah propose to remove the sin from the people of Israel? By putting away all their wives and all the children that came from those wives. Arise, for this matter is your responsibility. Shechaniah is telling Ezra that he has the responsibility of teaching the people the law so that they can follow it. Then Ezra arose and made the leaders of the priests, the Levites, and all Israel swear an oath that they would do according to this word. So they swore an oath. Ezra arose from doing what? From praying, weeping, and confessing in front of God. Why he'd be doing that? Because he realized that there were a number of people that had married foreign wives, which was not good. How did Shechaniah say that the people of Israel could rectify the problem? By putting away their wives and the children of that, moving them away, divorcing them, pushing them into another place. Who did Ezra have swear an oath? The leaders of the priests, the Levites, and all Israel. What were they swearing an oath about? That they would do according to the word, that they would remove all their wives and their children of them. Do you think they are going to follow through with what they promised to do? I would hope so. They're basically being threatened with being exterminated by God if they don't do so, lose their blessing. Then Ezra rose up from before the house of God and went into the chamber of Jehohanan, the son of Elishib. And when he came there, he ate no bread and drank no water, for he mourned because of the guilt of those from the captivity. Who is Jehohanan, the son of Elishib? Although we've not seen him listed before, it's fairly certain that he's the same person as Johanan listed in Nehemiah. Nehemiah 12, 22, 23. During the reign of Darius the Persian, a record was also kept of the Levites and priests who had been heads of their fathers' houses in the days of Elishib, Jehoiada, Johanan, and Jada, the sons of Levi, the heads of the fathers' houses, until the days of Johanan, the son of Elishib, was written in the books of the Chronicles. In Nehemiah 3:1, we find out Elishib was a high priest. Then Elishib, the high priest, rose up with his brethren, the priests, and built the sheep gate, and they consecrated it and hung its doors. Therefore, we can reasonably conclude, since the chronicler mentions Johanan specifically as a time indicator of the list of the sons of Levi, that Johanan was also a high priest. Whose chamber did Ezra go to after obtaining the oath from all the people? The chamber of Jehohanan. Did Ezra eat there? No, he did not eat bread or water. Was Ezra still upset about the sin of the people of Israel? Yes. If Ezra stayed in the chamber of Jehohanan, do you think that Jehohanan was guilty or not guilty of the sin that Ezra was upset about? I would say he's not guilty. Otherwise, Ezra wouldn't go into the room. Jehohanan, or Johan, was the son of whom? Elishib. Most likely, Johan, like his father Elishib, was a priest. And they issued a proclamation throughout Judah and Jerusalem to all the descendants of the captivity that they must gather at Jerusalem, and that whoever would not come within 3 days, according to the instructions of the leaders and elders, all his property would be confiscated, and he himself would be separated from the assembly of those from the captivity. What did the proclamation tell the descendants of the captivity to do? They must gather at Jerusalem. How long did they have to make the journey? 3 days. This was from the date of the proclamation, so many who may have lived a distance away had less than this to comply. And then if anyone did not come, what two things would happen to them? His property would be confiscated and he'd be separated from the assembly. Considering the amount of time given to comply and the punishment for not coming, do you think Ezra and the leaders considered this a very important proclamation? Absolutely. So all the men of Judah and Benjamin gathered at Jerusalem within 3 days. It was the 9th month, on the 12th, on the 20th of the month, and all the people sat in the open square at the house of God, trembling because of this matter and because of heavy rain. Well, yeah. All of the men of Judah and Benjamin, this is only two tribes. Are there only people from these two tribes here? No, in this case, it was not tribes he was naming, but the areas that the people lived in. When the Israelites originally entered the promised land, each tribe was designated an area to live. The entire book of Joshua talks of this. But during Ezra's time, the only two areas occupied by the returnees is Judah and Benjamin, which also happens to be no more than 3 days' journey away from Jerusalem. And you see that on the map. What areas did the people live in at the time? Areas of Benjamin and Judah. Looking below, what month is the 9th month? Kislev. What day of the month did the people gather? 20th of the month. What was the weather like this time? It was raining. Where were the people sitting? In the square of the house of God. Let's see. November, December. Could be raining. How many of the people gathered? A few, many, or all? All the men of Judah and Benjamin. The people were trembling because of this matter. Then Ezra the priest stood up and said to them, "You have transgressed and have taken pagan wives, adding to the guilt of Israel. Now therefore make confession to the Lord God of your fathers and do his will. Separate yourselves from the people of the land and from the pagan wives." What does Ezra accuse them of? Transgressed the law. Ezra tells them four things they must do to resolve the issue. They are to make a confession to the Lord God of your fathers, do his will, separate yourselves from the people of the land, and separate yourselves from pagan wives. Then all the assembly answered and said with a loud voice, "Yes, as you have said, so we must do. But there are many people. It is the season for heavy rain, and we're not able to stand outside. Nor is this the work of 1 or 2 days, for there are many of us who have transgressed in this manner. Please let the leaders of our entire assembly stand, and let all those in our cities who have taken pagan wives come at appointed times, together with the elders and the judges of their cities, until the fierce wrath of our God is turned away from us in this manner." Only Jonathan, the son of Ashahel, and Jahaziah, the son of Tikva, opposed this, and Meshullam and Shabbathiah, the Levite, gave them support. Did the assembly agree or disagree? They agreed, but they made some conditions. There are many people. It is a season for heavy rain, and we are not able to stand outside, nor is this work of 1 or 2 days. So what did the assembly assess to fix the situation? Let the leaders of our entire assembly stand, let them represent us in the oath at this time. Let those in our cities who have taken pagan wives come at appointed times, and let them come with the elders and judges of their cities. Who were the four men who opposed this decision? Jonathan, Jahaziah, Meshullam, and Shabbathiah. No, who were the? Okay, yeah. Well, you could read number 15 two different ways, right? Jonathan and Jahaziah definitely opposed it, but did Meshullam and Shabbathiah give them the support, or the Israelites the support? That's the question. Then the exiles did so. Ezra the priest and the men who were heads of the fathers' households were selected according to their fathers' households, each of them by name. And they sat down on the first day of the 10th month to investigate the matter. And by the first day of the first month, they finished investigating all the men married to foreign wives. Who did Ezra meet with? Heads of the fathers' households. What did they sit down to when did they sit down to investigate the matter? First day of the 10th month. On the Jewish calendar, what month is that? Tevet. What period does it correspond to on our calendar? December, January. When had they finished investigating? The first month. So how many days did they investigate this? And let's see, first day of 10th to the first day of the first. So 60 days. These are the priests who had married pagan wives. From the family of Heshua, son of Jehozadak, and his brothers, Messiah, Eleazar, Jerib, and Jedaliah. They vowed to divorce their wives, and they each acknowledged their guilt by offering a ram as a guilt offering. From the family of Immer, Hanani, and Zebadiah. From the family of Haram, Messiah, Elijah, Shemaiah, Jehiel, and Uzziah. From the family of Pashur, Elani, Messiah, Ishmael, Nathaniel, Josabad, and Elisah. Do we know anything about these people? Jeshua, the son of Jehozadak. This Jeshua is specifically named in the original group of returnees. Ezra 3:12 says, Then Jeshua, the son of Jehozadak, and his brethren, the priests, and Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and his brethren, arose and built the altar of God of Israel. So the sons of this man had taken pagan wives. Jeshua was a high priest, so this was particularly disturbing. The sons of Emer, Haram, and Pashur, and all the families listed after this came with the original returnees. Ezra 2:1, 37, 39. Now these are the people of the province who came back from the captivity of those who had been carried away, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away to Babylon, and who returned to Jerusalem and Judah, everyone to his own city. The sons of Emer, 1,052. The sons of Pashur, 1,247. The sons of Haram, 1,017. Although the trespass offering is only shown for the priests, all who sinned would have had to make this offering. How many men are listed as committing this sin? Let's see. Let's make sure I have that in front of me so I get this right. Because I see a number coming. Okay. Sons of Heshua, 5. That's Heshua and his brothers. The sons of Emer, 2. The sons of Haram, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The sons of Pashur, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In total so far, 18. And all that. Okay, I'm not even going to read that because there's so many words there. But basically, he's naming all the people that had problems: Levites, magicians, gatekeepers, other Israelites, and the various descendants. A lot of people. These Israelite households are also shown in the original list of returnees. How many men do you have listed here? We have 50 people listed here, and what's the combined total of 68? What would be their trespass offering? Would be a ram or a goat? Ezra 10:31, again, a list of people in detail. All these had married foreign women, and some of them had children by these wives. These Israelite households are also shown in the original list of returnees. How many men do you have listed here? There are 47 men listed here, and the combined total was 115. What would be their trespass offering? Would be a ram or a goat. Do you think that the returnees never married pagan wives again? Well, I would hope so. No, hope not. But it does indicate it's going to happen again. So the last crossword of my book here, it's how many days did the proclamation give the people to get to Jerusalem? 3 days. Whose chamber did Ezra stay in? Number 5, Jehohanan. 8. So all the men of Judah and Benjamin gathered at Jerusalem. 9. Ezra made all the leaders of the priests, the Levites, and all the Israel swear an oath. Yeah, swear an oath. One down. How many people opposed the agreement of the assembly? 4. What does Shechaniah want to make with God? A covenant. Who spoke up to Ezra? Shechaniah. What type of offering was given for the sin? A trespass offering. The people gathered around Ezra and wept bitterly. What Jewish month is the 9th month? Kislev. Kislev. So that's the end of this chapter and also the end of this book. So we have covered the whole book of Ezra. I hope you had a great and wonderful day. Bye now.